Southface with us today. One of our colleagues, Helen, on the sustainability side, met with this group of pals from Southface and thought it'd be really great to bring to our property managers committee meeting. So they have a lot of cool things to talk about, what PMs can get involved with to advance their sustainability for their buildings, as well as some benefits that you could be looking into. So I am gonna give the floor to Southface. You guys let me know when to click ahead on the next slides. Maybe just say a click and I'll go. Okay.
Great. I'll kick us off. My name is Nathan Bessette, and I lead the technical services team at Southface. I'll give a quick overview of Southface before I pass it over to my colleague Sam, and then he'll pass it over to our colleague Stephen. But I'll let the rest of the Southface team do a quick introduction before we move on.
I'm Sam Culpepper. I lead our design consulting team at Southface. I'm a registered architect and have worked in the commercial design and construction for about 15 years.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Stephen Ward. I'm also with Southface. Have been here for about 11 years, but before that, I was a residential property manager, so with Homeowners Advantage, and managed Viewpoint and a few other Midtown properties. So I can feel your pain sometimes about always putting out fires and never being able to get ahead, and they are never the residents' fault, of course. So just here to see how we can help you guys do better with what you have. And I'll pass it on to my colleague Reed, who just joined us. So this photo is not on here, but we are so happy that he has joined our team recently.
Thanks for that introduction, Stephen. Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Reed Walker. So yes, I did just start with Southface, but I've also interned for them and working with Fit Building, which I'll let Nathan and Stephen explain a little bit more about on our operations and maintenance side of the building life cycle. But I have interned with Southface prior and also with the Atlanta Office of Sustainability and Resilience.
Great, thank you. So Southface is a sustainable building nonprofit based in Atlanta by the Civic Center. So we've been in Atlanta actually since 1978. We were founded in 1978, and our geographic scope is really throughout the Southeast, although we do have projects all across the country. We like to talk, we're building science nerds. We are real experts in our climate zones, which is the hot, humid climate, and I'd argue one of the most complicated climates. So we get to work on tough stuff, difficult problems, difficult challenges with buildings. But our goal is always to try to achieve sustainability and make sustainability more accessible, more available to more people and more buildings. So in our Atlanta office, which I'm in today, we have an eco office with the green roof that's above us, and we demonstrate a bunch of different sustainability features and the ways that you can achieve sustainability. Some of those active, some of those passive. But at Southface, we always work to try to meet you where you are and find ways to achieve sustainability, whether you have a large budget in order to do that, or a small budget in order to do that, or whether you're an owner or an occupant. There's all different sorts of ways, and we'll try to find one that helps you on your journey to become more sustainable, and whatever way that might look. We also, over the past few years, launched a satellite location in Sarasota, Florida. And, through all these different avenues since 1978 and through a variety of means, we are working to try to make sustainability, as I said, work for everyone. Next slide, please. So our mission is to promote sustainable homes, workplaces, and communities through education, research, advocacy, and technical assistance. Those 4 pieces of our mission really enable sustainability to grow. We have mud on our boots, as we like to say, when it comes to the advocacy that we try to do. So we actually do the work that we try to promote through policy. We do research in order to inform that policy, and then we also do education. So when there might be pushback that suggests, oh, there's no workforce in order to deliver this, then we're the backstop for that. We can help deliver the workforce in order to achieve our policy outcomes that we seek. So our vision is to establish a healthy environment for us all, achieved and sustained by innovation and equity in the communities that we build together. Next slide, please. And we really have a variety of programs and services, too many, quite frankly, but Our big ones really are to our fee-for-service offerings that help owners, developers, builders achieve sustainability. A program called Good Use that helps to bring those benefits to nonprofit buildings and actually co-funds the improvements in their buildings in order to achieve the benefits of sustainability and energy efficiency. And in our advocacy programs, which is trying to achieve those benefits for everyone via policy. Next slide, please. And we do this through what we call the life cycle of a building. So we want to meet you where you are, wherever you are, wherever your building is at. So we have actually introduced new programs and services over the past couple of years in order to build out our offerings throughout this life cycle of a building. So those new programs and services, or relaunch programs and services, are here on this call. So if you've heard of Southface but you haven't talked to us in a few years, now's a good time, because Sam is going to talk about some of the things that we do on the design consulting side, really the design, plan, and finance, how to make it sustainability much more accessible and affordable from the design side and the front end. And then Stephen's going to talk about the new offerings that we have on the operation, occupy, and maintenance end. Traditionally, Southface has really been heavy in the construction and inspection, and then workforce that sometimes in the renovation. And then we're also building out some offerings on the end of life. So when you're looking at major renovation and decommissioning of the building, how can we do that in a more sustainable way? Next slide, please. I'll pass it to Sam. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Nathan. So yeah, our design consulting program is really focused on commercial and multifamily projects. We work on both the new construction and renovation and retrofit side. So we have a variety of services that we offer. So ranging from the very beginning, kind of conceptualizing what you would like or need to do with the building in a sustainability goals charrette, where we sit down and work through kind of what programmatically makes sense to pursue with the building. We can help support the design and implementation process through energy modeling and carbon assessment. So we'll talk a little bit more about those in a minute. And we also provide in-field performance testing. So this blower door testing, this is other kind of performance tests for a building, so that we can actually confirm how it's performing, and if there are specific interventions that need to be made, how those are implemented. We also do green building certifications. Our team is primarily focused on new construction or major renovation certification. And we can also help optimize system design. So mechanical systems, lighting, daylighting, all these components we can work through. Next slide, please. So an aspect that we've been looking at more and doing more of recently is whole building life cycle assessment. So this is assessing the impact of a building throughout its life cycle, from the early material production stages all the way through the end of life of the building. So this looks both at embodied and operational carbon impacts. So one example of this is the Inter-Atlanta Tower, which is currently in design, and it will be located in Buckhead on East Paces Ferry. And so this is a mass timber building. So this is actually, instead of made of being constructed of concrete, it's actually constructed of engineered timber. So 16 stories of wood over a 7-story concrete podium, and that's including 3 stories below grade. So the mass timber within this building will actually reduce the total carbon, embodied carbon impact by 63%, which is about the same as removing about 3,000 cars from the road for a year. Those are gasoline cars, not electric cars. So we can help provide some of these assessments to help quantify what the actual impact or carbon savings would be for a project. Next slide, please. So another area that we've been doing a lot of work in recently is around sustainability goal setting. So this typically takes the form of a charrette, where we sit down and work with a design team or an ownership group and try and understand what the project that they're trying to achieve is and how sustainability can support those goals. So oftentimes these are looking at supporting better indoor air quality or utility cost savings, or managing stormwater in a more effective way. And so one example of this would be the Civic Center. So our office is actually located where that R2 building is, right there. So because of our proximity to this major redevelopment, we've been able to have a lot of influence on the development team, and have helped them to pursue a sustainable neighborhood certification. So they're looking at having, heavily shaded streets, a lot of green infrastructure for stormwater management, keeping it kind of at a people scale, as well as pursuing high efficiency beyond code buildings to help reduce the carbon impact, have, just lower energy utility costs throughout, but also to integrate new features like larger solar arrays and other aspects of lower carbon construction throughout the whole complex. Next slide, please. So another area that we've been working on a lot recently is kind of net zero design support. So an example of this is the Oakland Cemetery Visitor Center. So this is a project that we've been working with to help develop a net zero approach. So we've been working with them from the beginning to help optimize their building so that they can operate with just the solar array off the roof. So that's including better than code insulation, high efficiency mechanical systems, and we've been working with them to optimize the daylighting so they can use the space without artificial lighting for the most part. Next slide, please. So some other interventions that are helpful for both existing and new construction buildings are the 179D tax deduction. So this has been around for a long time and applies to commercial buildings that are covered by ASHRAE 90.1, which is all commercial buildings except residential buildings 4 stories or below. So under the passage of the IRA, this was expanded. And so it is a per square foot tax deduction. So if you achieve a certain improvement, either if it's new construction against a performance standard, or if it's a renovation and a performance improvement over the existing building, then you can take this deduction that ranges from 50 cents a square foot to $5 a square foot. So on the renovation, this is shown by before and after bill analysis, and the deduction is taken in the year that the renovation goes into service. So this can be a way to actually get more money back out of your renovations, help reduce the cost of those. Next slide, please. On the multifamily side, there's also expanded tax credits available for achieving either Energy Star or Zero Energy Ready homes. And these can both be used for renovations as well. So if you're renovating a property, looking at pursuing Energy Star or Zero Energy Ready home certification for those units can net you up to $5,000 per unit for Zero Energy Ready homes, or $2,500 per unit for Energy Star. And on the multifamily side, that is dependent on meeting the apprenticeship and prevailing wage requirements. Excuse me. Next slide, please. Thank you. So another vehicle that we're seeing right now for renovation projects is this Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund. So this is funding through the EPA that's been released to fund this National Clean Investment Fund that's been kind of put out to 3 different entities that are looking at different sectors of the market. But there's a lot of funding available to commercial buildings, to multifamily buildings, single-family developers, single-family homeowners, and multifamily homeowners to help develop more energy-efficient buildings and to move towards electrification. So a lot of these projects are working around the national definition of a zero-emission building, which is a building that is very energy efficient, more energy efficient than code. It is free of on-site emissions from energy use, which means no natural gas or other fossil fuel usage on-site, and it's powered solely from clean energy. So this can be from on-site solar, this can be from RECs or from a virtual power purchase agreement. But utilizing any of these methods to get to this national definition of a zero emission building allows you to access this funding, which is better than market rate financing. So at a lower cost of financing to spur a lot of these projects. So they're looking to drive a lot of retrofits of existing buildings and mobilize a lot of private capital to help transform some of our commercial and multifamily sectors. Next slide, please. So a good way to start with this is for an existing building is to conduct an energy audit and understand exactly how you're performing today. So ASHRAE, the kind of large engineering body has standards for this. So an ASHRAE level 1 audit is a basic building walkthrough to kind of have a trained professional look at your building and try and understand how it's performing and provide some on-site suggestions for improvement. Level 2 audit is more extensive and includes the utility bill review and analysis, looking at least 12 months of utility bills, an in-depth building walkthrough, and then back-end analysis to kind of break down the building's energy use end uses. So how much energy is going to mechanical, how much is going to lighting, all these different components. And then it also includes the recommendations for improvements with a simple ROI. So if, for instance, your mechanical systems are 20 years old, replacing them with current high efficiency systems will cost X and the payback is Y. So, you tend to get a 7-year payback on those kind of things. So these level 2 energy audits are considered investment grade. They're often what's required by the GGRF funding to actually get some of these awards, and it's what the federal government requires as well for loans and other investments. So this is also required every 10 years for the compliance with the Atlanta's Better Buildings Challenge. So we perform these services and are happy to help kind of talk through what this looks like or put together a proposal if you're interested. But all large commercial buildings in Atlanta are on a rolling 10-year clock. So every 10 years, they need an audit completed to show compliance with this. Next slide, please. So I'm going to hand it over to Stephen to talk about that. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. So as Nathan shared earlier, we do have a demonstration campus, and that's just one of the things that I love about Southface is that we're not just kind of this ivory tower organization that says do these things. We really walk the sustainability walk, and even though I manage BIT, I am still their facility manager. I got a text about 25 minutes ago saying that the rainwater tank did not turn over properly, so some of our toilets are not working. So I'll be headed over there this afternoon. So as I said, we understand where you are and really try and help with any problem that you might have. So anyway, that's kind of all of the features that we or some of the features that we demonstrate at our campus that are sustainable operations and maintenance features. Next slide. So which leads us to BIT, and so that is our green building certification program, but it meets you where you are to just help you do better. I know, green building certification can kind of be a dirty word. It's like, oh God, it's something else for me to do on top of all this other stuff. And so I really try to think of it as more of it's a tool to help you do better. And when you want to get certified, you can do that too. And so that is really how BIT can help, especially folks in your position who might have very strong engineering teams or even strong concierges if they have those commercial buildings, but folks to just help you operate better. And so if you click the button, it should pull up kind of a brief video of the actual platform. Or just hit the right arrow or however you would advance the slide. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
So that is, I mean, it again, it's online software that just allows you to do better. It has energy, water, waste, and indoor air quality component, and all of these are things that are within your control in order to do better right now. And what's really cool about it is that after kind of going through your sustainable office guide, it really aligns with what you guys are already doing. And it's just online software to help you kind of advance all of that, but also get certified when you are ready. And if you go to the next slide, the program is based on 16 best practices. Oh, it's still kind of going through, but it's based on 16 best practices. This is for sustainable ops. And so these are just things that operators of existing buildings can do in order to, one, understand how their building is doing now, and then make a plan to do better, and then implement that plan. And so it has as the planning piece, energy, water, waste, and indoor air quality components. And on the next slide, each of these are kind of broken down into 4 action steps for you to take in order to, one, kind of understand how to do better. So that is tracking. I think I read on your site, kind of want to have an average Energy Star portfolio manager score of 80. So I think you guys may already be tracking already. So that's fantastic because that helps kind of understand trends. And so BIT can connect to your Energy Star portfolio manager account to kind of pull in that energy, water, and waste data. And then from there, as Sam said, there are auditing components. And so things to help you understand energy, water, waste, and IAQ use and say, oh, I understand the reasons why these numbers are trending the way they are. And so with that info, make a plan to do better. So there's a planning component on how to strategize ways to turn that data into action. So the trends from tracking and Energy Star to the auditing pieces, which explain the why behind those trends. And then with that data and that plan, do better, right? And so there's a preventative maintenance component, water leak, alternative transportation, purchasing, waste, all of this stuff that you guys know about, just based on that sustainable office guide. So this is a way to really help reinforce what you are already doing at Livable Buckhead and turn that into action. And these are tools that are within your control, because I know how pleasantly challenging it can be to have a building full of occupants who all have many needs. And so this is a tool, again, to help you do better and not just something else to do, something else to add to your plates. And so next slide, I think there might be one more. All right, so, and once you have started doing better, and I see, I apologize, it got a little cut off at the top, but you're welcome to get certified. And so that is kind of a way of saying, of recognizing the hard work that you and your team have been doing. So it's kind of the enroll piece, implement those best practices, hopefully improve over time, and then earn green building certification. So the final slide, I think, is just, we have been helping folks do better for a long time. And so we have buildings and projects really across the globe. And so this is again for kind of any existing building, and provides tools and an online platform to help you do better, and then hopefully get recognized for those efforts. So we really try and again meet folks where they are to help them do better, and with tools that are within their control. I think that's our last slide. So I thank you for your time.
Stephen,
and
I just
hearing
want to
about
ask a quick
Southface.
question or
Yes, ma'am.
clarify. Not just the building owner can go after this certification, the building manager or operator can go after the certification. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, it is. And even tenant spaces within building. So we do have some projects, especially in other countries where like LEED or some other green building certification programs may not fit, but the tenant would like to get their office space certified because that rolls up to their larger corporate goals. So yeah, it can be for the owner, tenant, manager, any of those folks.
And speaking of LEED, this is a little bit easier and probably a lot cheaper than going after LEED certification.
Thank you. You are selling my program for me. Yes. So it is. It's LEED is. Let me back a bit. Unlike my colleagues, I'm not technically trained. I have a music degree and a business degree. I did not go to my high school guidance counselor and say, when I grow up, I want to manage buildings. It was more you kind of find your way into this role. And so this is really a program for folks like me and perhaps like you who do not have that technical background but are still charged with doing better. So it's a lot easier. It's those 16 steps that, again, it's energy, water waste. You don't have to calculate how much rainwater falls on the square foot and then blah, 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 blah. You know, it's just, let's show you how to do better with tools that you have. So it is very, very affordable. The certification is $1,500 per project. So that is for either the entire building or one suite. So yeah, we really just, again, try to help folks do better and not have to, you know, put on their technical hat, say, okay, now I have to do all this stuff. So yeah, thank you for asking that, Helen.
I have a question as well. A lot of our commercial office buildings, Class A office buildings, do already have LEED and other green building certifications. Is there a benefit to getting this on top of that, or is it really where you work with a lot of buildings that don't have any green building certifications?
We work with both. So one of the interesting things that LEED and many other certification are struggling with is that folks, you know, say we have LEED or we are LEED certified, and no one tends to ask, well, is it LEED new construction or is it LEED O&M? Because they assume that LEED certified means that you operate as well as your building was meant to be operated. And so this is for those folks who may say, oh, we may not qualify for LEED O&M anymore, especially if they're an older building or it's been neglected, or there just isn't a financial benefit to having that piece of paper that says we're operating well. But those folks who still might want to say, but I still want to be recognized by a third party that says I am operating well. So it's for anyone, and it depends on kind of where they fall in that spectrum of I have to have LEED, or I just have to have someone authorize or certify that I have been performing better. And so BID is also approved by I'm going to stutter, approved by GRES. Woo, got it out. And so that is also a benefit in case you have kind of ESG goals that have to have GRES recognized certification schemes in order to be approved.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, what we see a lot is a building will be built and achieve a green building certification at that point in time. But the LEED certifications that most people kind of know about are those that, you know, at that point in time. So day one, as it's open, that is a sustainable building. However, oftentimes LEED buildings are also very complicated to operate. And if they're not continued to operate at the level of performance that was intended at the design, sometimes actually the operations, you could actually see that the energy benefits are not there, and you might have even higher energy use than what was intended from the design. So that's where LEED O&M comes in. It works to try to verify that you are operating and gives you a certification for that operations every 3 years. It's a 3-year renewal. It is very complicated and very expensive, and it has a performance threshold. So what we try to do with BIT is make it inexpensive versus expensive, make it uncomplicated versus complicated, and not have a performance threshold. So you get the certification for the inputs and the effort put into the 16 best practices, not necessarily that you achieved a certain amount of savings based on that. There are achievement designations if you wish to try to pursue those, and you get an additional designation if you do achieve those improvements. However, you can get the certification without it, which is pretty important also for those that are seeking kind of that global GRES recognition for any kind of ESG stamps that say, we're 100% certified buildings, and this is that backup for that. And so that gives you a lot of options with BIT that's not available in some of the other O&M programs. Generally, the O&M marketplace is just not as evolved as the new construction side of things. New construction's been around for a while. A lot of people have been doing those, but on the O&M side, because it's complicated, because it's expensive, fewer people have pursued it, and they've gotten by with just that maybe misunderstanding or hope that, oh, I got the LEED stamp, so indefinitely this building is sustainable, and that's not always the case.
I think
Wow, well,
that's
those
probably
were
super helpful. Yeah.
Oh
for
yeah,
property
super
managers to hear.
helpful.
Yeah.
Great questions from you all so far. I think that Katie, that was one of my main questions too, that you all answered. So really great to know and good to highlight. When I send this back out, I'll be sure, I feel like that's a real grabbing point for our PMs. And did we just get a question come through? Oh, thank you. Yeah. And I believe, oh yeah, the thank you slide. Well, thank you, Sam, Nathan, Stephen, Reed. I think I got it all in there. For your presentation today. This was super helpful. We'll be sure to send it out to you once this is recorded and up for everyone to view. And your information I'll have on that is right here. And I will have that on the email that goes out to everyone for contact purposes. But this was really informational, some things that I don't believe many of us are aware of, because we just hear those top names for program certifications, but really good to know about BIT and everything that Southface is offering for our properties. So thank you guys again for being here with us today.
Our pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity.
Great.